Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
You know, I want to confess something to you. I've started a new practice because the universe is very much like a mirror that reflects back the energy that you put into it. So before I start a meeting, and often when I'm in public with people who understand what I'm doing, I will say, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed, because that is the energy that I want to have reflected back to me nanoseconds later. What you give really, truly is what you get. It's very much like the law of attraction, where the vibrations that you put out are what gets attracted back to you in the people, the things, the experiences you get to receive. Well, I am delighted to chat today with a brilliant law of attraction practitioner, author, and integrative well-being therapist, Jamie Lerner. Jamie is the co-author of the book, The Ever-Loving Essence of You. She knows how to put a fresh spin on just about anything that anybody throws her way. Her unique and masterful ability to reframe even the most difficult situations is really astounding. Jamie helps her clients sift through the contrast to find that small opening of light that quickly becomes their greatest jumping off point for clarity. She shows her clients how to untangle the issues at hand, creating a solutions-based platform for creative, productive, good-feeling collaboration and change. Jamie is just so good at putting people at ease, connecting to that calm, centered space within. Well, like me, Jamie has an insatiable appetite for pleasure, beauty, and joy. She's truly adept at celebrating life in every moment and guiding us to do the same. Jamie, I'm so glad you can join us today. This is going to be so much fun.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, man. Having people who are so like-minded, who just get it, who really enjoy life, even the challenging parts, it makes such a difference when you can witness everything that's happening in your life as something that's truly for your benefit. So I know we're going to have an amazing conversation. And I could really dive in right now, but there's two things I want us to do together that will really help everyone get the most out of our experience today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. Now, I'll let us rest in just a moment of divine grace after we take those 3 deep breaths. And then I'm going to share an intention. The intention is what we want to create and how we want to feel about it. Think of it as kind of like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go. Here's what we want to create together. And all we need to do is hold that vibration, that energy, and we're going to hold it in silence for 78 seconds, because all the research right now shows that human beings have a shorter attention span than a goldfish, and a goldfish starts life brand new every 8 seconds. They start from 0, and we're worse than that because of all the distractions, all of the quick cuts. So what I encourage you to do, there's 2 tricks that really help us hold this space for 78 seconds of silence. The first thing, as you listen to the intention, pick 2 or 3 words that just feel uplifting and inspiring and expansive. It's that high vibration vibe that you really want to experience on a regular basis. And repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over again in your mind for those 78 seconds. Now, the second thing to do is feel what's happening in your body, because you might get goosebumps, or you might get a rush of heat, or you might feel your whole body start to expand. Any kind of movement in your body, sensation in your body, is just confirmation from the divine that they have locked in on your higher vibration, and they are all set to take you to fulfill and experience that intention. How cool is that? So Let's go ahead and get started by breathing together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we celebrate and cherish ourselves as we continually grow with divine guidance to realize our dreams. In deepest gratitude, thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, there's a lot of energy around this one. What was that like for you, Jamie?
It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
I just felt my whole crown chakra opening up. It felt like there was all this energy flowing down through me and around me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you because I know you're really passionate about the work that you're doing. I mean, you've got a best-selling book. You're really well known as an incredible therapist. You've been doing this for quite a while. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, I think that we are born with a birthright, and the birthright is well-being. And I think that a lot of people do not know that it is their birthright. And so I think it's helpful if we can remind them that this is truly where they can be at all times. So, however, I think it's also important to know that a lot of people don't want to be there. So,
I'm sorry, run that past me again?
yes, there are a lot of people that do not want that sense of well-being or happiness. And I think it's very important that we allow them, those people, once they know that there's an option, to be where they are and allow them to be who they are and to meet them as who they are and where they are, instead of forcing this idea, concept, way of living, way of thinking down their throat.
It's so true because honestly, you can't absorb it until you're ready to absorb it. You know, you can't take in the information. It's so funny. I often talk, I get downloads from the divine all the time. And it almost feels like I'm getting different dots, and each one is a really profound blessing in and of itself. But after a while, I get enough dots, and all of a sudden I see the image that it makes. It's like connect the dots kind of thing. And it pops out into this 3D vivid reality that adds so much more meaning to all of the individual dots. And understanding that everybody's collecting their own dots and everybody has their own image that they're going to be able to see. And they may not be as far along in collecting dots as you are, right?
Yes, but the idea of introducing the possibility is very exciting to me because once again, a lot of people don't even know that that is what is possible.
No kidding. No kidding. I think they've kind of given up. They feel like all of life is happening to them instead of for them and through them. And that's a really tricky place to be in. It's a very discouraging place to be in. Now, I have to ask you a question, and I ask everybody this question. I've never had the same answer, which I love. Obviously, this is called the abundance journey. So, given all the work that you do, how would you define abundance?
I think abundance is a state of mind. And I think that when we feel abundant, we are certain that there is enough for everybody and more. And so when something good is happening for other people, we are so happy to jump on their joy of what is happening for them, to them, with them. And it really opens up like a whole new way of seeing everything. So that's what I think abundance is.
I love that description. I really love that description because it really truly means you can pick up on abundance anywhere. You can look out the window and see beautiful flowers in abundance. You can listen to bird song in abundance. You can watch someone in a beautiful relationship and feel the love from their relationship enriching you. You know, it's not limited to just those who are the first ones to experience it. It really truly ripples out so that everyone around them can experience it. Yeah.
Yes, and I think it really underscores how important it is to feel worthy of receiving. So those two things are really tied together. Once people feel a greater sense of self-worth, not entitlement, because that is different, but self-worth, I think something does shift for them, and they are more open to receiving all of that appreciation and all those wonderful experiences happening around them.
You know, it's really interesting. I was going to ask you what's common symptom, and I think the common symptom is probably a really low sense of self-worth. And it's very challenging place to be in, and I find that everything's cyclical. You know, we go through periods of great growth and we feel a sense of accomplishment and we get some things done. And then all of a sudden we start a new path and we realize we don't know what we don't know. Like, uh-oh, I'm starting all over again. I talk about an infinity symbol and, you know, you're going up one side and then it's whee, and then you're going down in the bottom again. You're like, uh-oh, whee, uh-oh. So there's this kind of ongoing cycle that people go through. What have you noticed they're experiencing when it comes to self-worth and the growth of moving into a better space around self-worth?
I think that we don't understand and we do underestimate the importance and of taking personal responsibility, which I think is our superpower. This society rewards the victim. And so I think people get sucked into a victim mentality instead of understanding that the one thing that they do have control over is what they're thinking about and how they're feeling. And when we can master that, it's really amazing how good we can feel as we walk through every single experience, not even knowing what we're walking through. Because all the validation that we are needing comes from within instead of from outside. That's a really powerful place to be. And people are not really reminded of that. What they're encouraged to do is to feel like the victim and to just kind of understand that everything is happening to them and there's nothing they can do about it.
Wow. You remind me of something that happened a few months ago for me. I was in my kitchen and I was doing dishes and I was just kind of musing over how come sometimes you work on something and it's just a piece of cake? Everything comes together so fast, so easily. It's a breeze. And then there's other times when you're working on a project and it is a total slog. It doesn't matter what you do. You hit roadblock after roadblock and problems and challenges and issues and it's so frustrating. I was just kind of musing over, I wonder why that happens. And as I was thinking this, I suddenly felt and heard a really loud, forceful voice in my body that said, when you deny your power is denied to you. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. And I was kind of taken aback and I'm like, oh gosh, what am I doing to deny my power? Because obviously I want to show up as my best self if I possibly can. And I realized that often the words that we use are self-defeating. Like, I'll try to get that done. Well, you either do it or you don't do it. I want to do that. Well, want leaves you wanting, right? I've decided to use more powerful language, things like I choose, because I truly think that the superpower of choice is really the dividing line. This is like, am I willing, like you said, responsibility. Am I willing to take this on? Because I am creating my experience through how I interpret what's happening.
So I think there's another powerful choice, which is to take responsibility for choosing not to do something. And that is very powerful as well. The important thing is that you are making a conscious decision for yourself about yourself. And I think the choice of choosing not to do something is really helpful for people, because when you're feeling the pressure or the need to do something and you're not in alignment with the task at hand, then that's where the beauty of procrastination comes in. And procrastination is our friend because it reminds us to pause and take time to get in alignment with what we are thinking that either we must do or that we want to do. So I love procrastination. And one moment we may feel that, no, we're not interested in doing this. As soon as you give yourself permission to not do it, you kind of start to want to do it. So it's interesting how that works. And I think then we don't have as much resistance, which we tend to
It's very interesting
put in our way.
I notice that whenever I feel resistance, it's like the divine has a big neon sign with arrows. It's like, pay attention here. This is the growth opportunity. Anywhere you don't want to do it, and you're trying to step away, you need to look more closely here because this is an opportunity for growth.
But it will come back. If you miss the opportunity and you give yourself permission, consciously choosing, like, I know what I can do in this moment for myself to feel differently, but I'm choosing not to, I applaud that. I say, that is great. You are standing in your power by making that decision. You're not a victim to whatever that is. You're choosing. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
That's a very interesting perspective because I always think of it as forward momentum and making progress. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is there's a balance between forward progress and nurturing the self and honoring the self and regrouping your strength so that you're ready to move forward with the next step.
Which is called inspired action. And when you're inspired to act, then it's easy. It's so easy.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is when I get into that space of grateful curiosity, that's when I'm really engaged, I'm interested, I'm leaning in, I'm totally present because I really want to absorb the blessings that are here for me. And it's very much like a scavenger hunt. It is not obvious. I have to be totally alert and completely tuned in or I'm going to miss stuff. And I find that people are so distracted these days.
But if you miss it, don't worry, it's going to come back. It'll come back as many times as it needs to. So don't beat yourself up over it. You haven't missed the opportunity of a lifetime. You've just missed the moment, and there will be the next moment and the next moment.
I love that. So beautiful, and so well said. So I found that every time I want something in my world to change, it's really nice if there's a magic wand, but I haven't found one yet. It turns out that I need to change something inside me first before I can experience that transformation. What have you noticed that people really need to be willing to do internally that makes the difference in what they experience externally?
I think to be present with yourself. And I really ask people first thing in the morning to take 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be the morning, but whenever you feel like you can take 5 minutes for yourself and ask yourself, what do you appreciate about yourself? Not what is someone else appreciating about you, but what do you appreciate about yourself for yourself? And I think that really sets the tone for people to look inward.
I love that. Yeah, because we don't tend to look inside very often. We tend to look for that reflection, that bounce back, and that will give me the validation. And you're saying go inside for the validation. And I loved what you said about you truly need to validate yourself.
Well, that's long lasting. Validation from others does not sustain us. It's not sustaining. But when we feel good about whatever it is or appreciate something about ourselves, when it comes from us, for us, about us, I think that that is something that will last forever.
No kidding. No kidding. You know, I feel compelled to share a little story with you just because I think it's related and I want to get your insights from here. So several months ago, I was in running errands. I was driving my husband's truck, and it's a large vehicle. I'm always really cautious when I drive it because I'm not great with spatial awareness. It's not my strongest suit. So I was in a parking lot. And I'm slowly backing out of the space and looking all around, trying to make sure there's nobody there. And out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody just flying through that parking lot like it was a racetrack. And I thought, man, that is not safe. But I'm backing up slowly, slowly, slowly. And all of a sudden, somebody honked right behind me. I didn't look. I didn't check to see if they were honking at me. I just assumed they were. And man, did I get triggered. Just in a second, in a nanosecond, I went from happy, happy, joy, joy to pissed off. You know, the Hulk came out to play. And I was ranting in my mind about what a jerk and how rude. And suddenly I heard the divine going, sweetheart, honey, we keep telling you that absolutely everything you experience in your life is designed to be a blessing for you. That little story that you're making up there does not sound like a blessing. What would it sound like if having someone honk at you was actually a blessing? I had to think about it because I was a little resistant. I was cranky. But I finally thought, well, you know what? Maybe I was about to hit something. And whoever that was didn't have time to put their car in park, jump out, run around, knock on my window, lady, watch out, you're going to hit some. And, you know, not having an accident that costs you a bunch of money and takes a lot of extra time and increases your insurance, not having an accident really is a big blessing. That's pretty cool. And, you know, maybe they just had a different vantage point on where I was in the parking space. As it happened, I did stop and I cranked on that wheel and I out of that parking spot. It seemed really tight to me, but maybe from their perspective, they could see that I had it. So it's like a thumbs up. It's okay. You've got this. And again, they didn't have time to put it in park, jump out, run around, knock on my window. They had time to honk. And that was kind of it. And suddenly the real blessing came through. I'm the one that's been blocking my blessings based on the stories that I make up. Because I can make up a story where this is benefiting me, or I can make up a story that it is somehow hurtful. or shameful or painful for me. But the story is mine and it's made up in my head. So I would love your input and your feedback on that concept.
I think it's a beautiful way to reframe something when you catch yourself out of alignment with who you are. And I think when we're enraged, that's not who we are. We're disconnected from ourselves. And the other thing that I think is that when we step into personal responsibility, we let everyone else off the hook. So no matter what happens around us, the first person that we consider is ourselves. Not how did we create this mess, but what is it about where I am in this moment that I can take responsibility for what is happening. And that feels really good and really powerful because you are then in control of any situation that you find yourself in or that you have attracted consciously or unconsciously into your life. So, another way of looking at personal responsibility as a superpower.
I love that. I really love that. It makes such a big difference because knowing that you do have control, and the control comes where you have the opportunity to decide how you are going to experience this moment
Yes.
and what you're going to get out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for somebody else to give you permission. You get to have that autonomy. You get to have that sovereignty and talk about owning your power, right? That's definitely owning your
However,
power.
I have to say, my own children take issue with me because I let everyone off the hook, and they do not like that. I don't hold anyone accountable except for myself, and it's like it's maddening to them, but it works really well for me.
Very cool. Well, for those of us who are kind of going down this road and we want to make some progress, what are one or two baby steps that we could take that would really help us get going in the right direction?
I think to isolate the mind chatter. So whatever all that stuff is running in the background, and usually it's not very nice things that we are saying to ourselves about ourselves. As a matter of fact, if we took a moment and really realized what those things were, we would understand that we would not talk to another person the way we talk to ourselves. And 99% of it is nonsense and not even true. So to isolate the mind chatter and then to have a really good laugh about it and to do a little like fact checking and maybe a little update so that at least you can catch yourself. And if you can't change the words, maybe you could change the tone of it so that it becomes a place where there's some levity and humor instead of bashing yourself, which doesn't feel good.
You know, it's so funny. I decided a while ago, I'm no longer going to work. You know, work puts it all on me, huge responsibility, huge burden, and it's all about me and nobody else can play with me. And it feels like I have to. So now instead of working, I play because play is lighthearted and fun and inclusive. Other people get to play with me. And it just makes things so much easier. In fact, there was some fascinating research done that took two different groups of grade school kids, and they were teaching these kids something. And one group were taught in the traditional schoolroom way. The other group were taught through a game, through play. It took 30 times more with repetition and all the rest of it in the traditional learning format for the kids to grasp the concept that was being taught versus the play. Play is the fastest and easiest way for us to learn and assimilate new information and feel really good about ourselves and be able to move forward with more confidence, grace, and ease.
So that goes back to not feeling like you have to explain yourself to anybody. And I think that a lot of these things that we're doing for ourselves, that people use the word how we're working on ourselves. We're not working on ourselves. But however it is that we are becoming lovingly curious about ourselves, I really suggest people keep it to themselves because when you share, you will be talked out of it.
Yeah.
But when you, through your own actions, are able to walk your talk, then I think you become a teacher of what is possible.
I love that. I love that. This is just so amazing. Oh, man. So, one of the things that we love to do here is turn the tables on our guests because we know that when we give is when we receive the most. So, what is something that we can do to support you, Jamie?
I think that the best way to support anyone that is in the helping profession is to take all of the credit for every single thing that you are learning and loving about yourself. Because at the end of the day, I assist people in assisting themselves. And the best thing that could happen to me is that clients no longer need me, which a lot of people say that is not a very good business strategy. But I'm in the business of wellness. So, yeah, do your thing, take all the credit for it, and walk your talk and be the living, breathing example to other people.
Oh,
Because
so beautiful.
words do not teach.
No. No, action really teaches. And you are a role model, whether you think you are or not. So, how wonderful to take responsibility, have that sovereignty over who you are, have that control, and then celebrate who you are. Acknowledge the things that you're doing well and the growth that you're experiencing. Because,
Yes,
wow.
unapologetically to yourself.
Exactly. So beautiful. Wow. Jamie, I cannot thank you enough. You've given me so many great ideas. I've got several pages of notes, and now I have to pick just one of all those brilliant things you shared with us to do the Activate Abundance segment around. You're making things a little difficult. Oh, this was fabulous. All right, stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. I just adore Jamie. She is fabulous. I love her soft, soothing energy. She just exudes this innate calm, this perfect divine grace that I just want to soak in. It's like I really want a deep tub so I can soak in Jamie. That was awesome. All right, we're going to activate abundance. And step 1 is always gratitude. Gratitude is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. And obviously, I'm incredibly grateful for all the amazing things that Jamie had to share with us today. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was a really big aha for you. And there were so many things. It was hard to pick just one, but I had to go with the concept of self-worth. And at one point, Jamie said, you could get validation from people all day long, but it doesn't last. It doesn't really build you up. What builds you up is when you validate yourself. And you can only truly experience self-worth when you do validate yourself. I thought that was like, wow, really mind-bending. Because how often do we take the time to do that? Sad to say, I'm not too good about that. And she's really making me think. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, hey, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to wait for everybody else to say thank you or notice what you did? That you could notice what you did. You could notice how you showed up. You could notice how you were being, because no two people interpret things exactly the same way. You might be showing up as your best, highest, most generous, loving self. And if somebody else is in a lousy mood and they just decide to take it out on you, it doesn't matter how you're showing up. They're going to interpret things the way they interpret things. So why be held hostage to other people's perspective? You're the only perspective that matters in your life. So own who you are. Own who you are being. It gives you such an innate sense of confidence and competence, both, when you take responsibility for validating yourself and honoring your self-worth. Step 4, we get to activate it. This is where we take a concept and we turn it into tangible physical reality. There's 3 different ways that you can do that. The first way is schedule time to get it done. And I include things like meditation and journaling here. Journaling is just the ticket for validating yourself. What if you took some time to validate yourself in the morning before you do things? Validate what a great job you're going to do today on these different things and how you're going to feel about yourself when you choose to show up that way. Yeah, life happens, things get crazy, but it really helps you put into the mirror of the universe exactly what you would love to receive back, if not amplified multiple times. So journaling, really powerful technique. Second way that we can activate abundance is create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, I validate myself. I don't need to have other people give me this approval and appreciation. I appreciate who I am being. So I'm a little more aware of how I am being in the moment, right? I tune in to what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I'm saying to myself. It really helps increase my level of self-awareness, so I truly do embody the person I want to be in every moment. That physical trigger, that is a powerful technique. The third way to activate abundance, and I know that Jamie didn't say she likes to do this, but I like to work with an accountability partner. This is someone that I give permission to say, here's how I want to show up. I want to make sure that I am validating myself. And I want you to call me on it if you see me cutting myself down, tearing myself down, because that's not who I want to be anymore. So please call me on that and help me reframe it, because I'm retraining my brain so that really truly supports me. So those are the 3 different ways that we can activate abundance. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is an ongoing journey, a beautiful unfolding of perfection, which is what you are. You are perfect because of your imperfections and the opportunities that they give you to grow and thrive. How exciting that you being you is the best thing you can do, not just for you, but for all the rest of us as well. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.